Can I tell you about this thing that happened to me today that's going to make me seem like a giant nerd? But I'm actually a little bit proud of.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
For what little success that we've shared together with the podcasting world, the amount of excitement that I've gotten today is stupid.
Wait, why? What happened? What's going on?
I am currently one of the top posts on reddit.com/r/Star Trek.
You are?
Yeah. I'll send you this link.
Let me guess. Oh, you got a link to the subreddit.
I did. I'm not going to tell you. You just look and you tell me. I mean, you'll get it right away because you'll see, but it's the nerdiest thing I've ever asked anybody in the world. And it's kind of popping off a little bit.
What phrases would a Temerian raised entirely on Earth's history use in daily life?
Do you know, as a Star Trek nerd, what that even means?
Yes. Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of people would not. But as a fellow Star Trek nerd, isn't that kind of a fun question?
It is a very fun question, actually. I can see why people are getting into this because it's really good.
There's never been a Reddit post that I've made that has gotten more than like maybe 20 replies. Upper limit. Yeah. 20. And this one is posted a few hours ago, and I think it's going to break 100 if I'm lucky.
Well, your top comment has more upvotes than the actual post itself.
Okay, that's pretty hilarious.
Yeah, Berlin, when
I didn't
the wall
notice
fell,
that.
which is perfect.
It's really good. There are so many good ones in here. There's so many people in this thread. I mean, it makes sense because it's a Star Trek subreddit that are smarter than I am and like very, very good at crafting a joke within the space of a Temerian phrase.
Oh, yeah.
Which, for those that don't know, I was watching Lower Decks the other day, rewatching Lower Decks because it's the best Star Trek series that I've seen since TNG. And they have a Temerian on there who joins Starfleet.
Oh, cool.
Temerians are a race of people. They communicate in a very weird way. They use metaphors that call back to their actual mythology and history as a people. And so if you're not part of that culture, it's really hard to understand them when they communicate. So they'll say like Tarak when the wall fell.
His arms wide.
Yeah. And it means like the feeling that they had in that moment during the mythological story. And I was like,
right,
man, what could we use on Earth that you'd be able to communicate with this weird alien race with? What moments do we have that would inspire emotion? Mm-hmm. So I put it up on the Star Trek subreddit, and it kind of popped off a little bit.
It's fun to see what other people are coming up with. It's nerdy as shit. You're right. Yes.
It's so nerdy. It's the nerdiest thing I've ever done.
Fry, his eyes narrowed. Literally, I was just thinking like a lot of them would be meme descriptions.
A lot of them are memes, which is fine. I really do enjoy the meme ones, but there's a lot of like heavy ones. Well, first, the meme one that I really like is "Sir, this is a Wendy's," because it's the same format, but it doesn't fit. But it's hilarious.
Yeah.
But like New York when the towers fell.
Sure.
Hiroshima when the bomb fell. Caesar, his back bloody. Like there's people are very fucking clever.
Mm-hmm. Gandhi, his stomach empty.
Yeah, the one below that references Civilization, the video game, is one of my favorites.
Gandhi, his wrath unleashed. Oh, that's really good too. Yeah, that's pretty fun. That's a lot of fun.
I just saw Fonzie a shark leapt, which is very good.
Editing John here. The next hour and a half was spent with us just talking about random shit, totally not related to Dragon Ball Z. And then we remembered, oh yeah, right, the podcast, right. So we're just skipping right to that. Anyway, okay, we got to record a podcast.
Man, how cool would it be if we could record a podcast about whatever the fuck we've been talking about for the past hour?
That's basically what we're doing. We lie to people and say it's about Dragon Ball Z, but then in the middle of it, we go ahead and start talking about whatever the fuck we want.
Hang on, let me start my fan and then we'll do this.
All right.
Oh man, it's been a while, John, but we're back here talking about Dragon Ball Z.
I appreciate you giving us like a starting point, but I'm gonna put some of this bullshit in the
That's fine. I honestly like it. It's cathartic for me, and I don't know if it's entertaining, but it definitely is cathartic for me.
I mean, we like talking to each other, and hopefully that is what is entertaining or wholesome.
That's the hope. Yeah, you're right. We've been tricking people this whole time with the Eric Hates Dragon Ball Z facade. It's been a while, but we're back here talking about Dragon Ball Z. And before we get to that, there are some special people we got to thank. This is going to be another big boy shout out. Thank you to our patrons over at our Patreon, patreon.com/EHDBZ, for donating I honestly can't remember the amount of money per month to get a special mention at the beginning of every single episode without even looking at the stupid piece of paper or image. What do you call stupid piece of pixels? I don't know what it.
Wow, no, that's good. Yeah.
I'm gonna say them. I know you just sent it to me. I'm not gonna look at it. Thank you. A special big boy shout out. Thank you to MJ Snyder, Tyler Hyatt, Spencer Feuerstein, and.
Oh, come on. No, don't look down. Don't look down.
I'm not gonna look.
We couldn't say their name right.
God, I feel so bad if I'm gonna have to look at this one.
Come on, you got this. You got this. I'm gonna keep all this in, and I'm gonna put that "Who Wants to Be a Millionaire" music at the very beginning of the podcast. Here we go.
I'm gonna guess, but if I'm wrong, then they're gonna get a shout out when they don't fit the requirements. Dan Shumate.
No!
Fuck.
Okay, I see where you got that because I said we never get their name right.
Yeah.
But it's the person that we had to look up how to pronounce their goddamn name, and it turns out they were correct.
And the fish.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry, the fish. All of our patrons are amazing. The big boys is. I don't know. I failed. I don't know how to recuperate from a failure. I don't.
It's hard. It's hard doing this because you never know what's going to stay in and what's not anymore. So I could tell you were like, do I do another take or do I just start justifying how this did work?
It's like you guys are all awesome. And, sometimes my brain just don't work right.
No, sometimes we're just not. There's no way that we could add up together, all three of us, to as awesome as all of you are to us as we could be. Oh God, see, I can't even say that properly.
That's a decent save though. You're halfway there.
I was halfway to the decent save, but it didn't.
Welcome to Eric Hates Dragon Ball Z.
I gotta do it last time. I gotta do last time. Our podcast made of failures and errors and flubs. Last time.
Failures and Erics.
Failures and Erics is a really good title. Last
season.
I keep going as soon as you're going.
I know.
I'm sorry.
It's your turn. I shouldn't be talking. Just do your thing.
We got this. We can do this podcast. God damn it. We can do this.
It's been so long.
It has been. It has really been a long time. Okay, I got this. Here we go. Last time on Eric Hates Dragon Ball Z. Hercule befriended Boo, and a puppy got shot. And Gohan is gonna become Godhan. This time on Eric Hates Dragon Ball Z.
I mean, not quite, but welcome to Eric Hates Dragon Ball Z. I'm Spencer.
And I'm John.
And today we're going to be going over episodes 254 to 258 of Dragon Ball Z.
But not before we go over some text messages and voicemail stuff. And I'm still in the last time voice, and I'm going to stick with it. So we've got a couple of...
I was wondering how you're going to get out of that one.
Just by failing miserably. We've got a couple of text messages. We're going to go over these real quick. We got one from, this is a bunch from an individual.
Like they sent multiple or just like multiple questions?
Multiple text messages just in a row, which I appreciate. I'm cool with it.
Okay.
It's just the way that Google Voice formats it is a little confusing, but okay. I got this. It's fine. This is from Roy. Roy says, I was there at FanX. And I get it, man. It was packed all 3 days. I wore a mask and I still got sick. Ooh. We crossed paths because my friends and I got stuck in that traffic too. Brandon Sanderson is just huge and got stuck into a small panel room. So apparently I was adjacent to Roy somewhere.
Wow.
They had the Dragon Ball panel in that same room before. And yeah, not super well planned. I hope your future con experience goes well. That really sucks. Thank you, Roy. It did fucking suck.
That's nice. Well, and Roy knows better than anybody because he was there with you.
Damn straight. It was a nightmare. Roy knows that I hyperbolized how long we were stuck there because it was really only 20 minutes, but I think I said 45.
You did.
So.
And I believed
you. Thank you for believing me. And also thank you for sending us that text message as well. We got another one from Ted.
Oh,
Ted, I feel bad that we left just by the mention of
it was such a great opener. It was just so casual and
friendly. It made me want to give Ted a hug. Which
is it weird? Okay, there's two things. Oh God, this might get cut. Ted is such a friendly name.
Yes,
on the outset, right?
It is.
But then, if you think about it for 2 seconds, Ted Bundy. So
maybe that's why Ted Bundy got away with it. because it was like,
I mean,
hey,
by all
I'm
accounts,
Ted, I'm a serial killer.
Yeah, he was super charismatic and stuff.
That's true.
I think even after convicted, he like got proposed to.
Yeah, that's how he got out of sentencing in one of his cases. I just recently read up on Ted Bundy. Don't ask me why.
Of course.
Of course. Look, there's this weird thing that happened. No, okay, I'm not gonna. So anyway, so I was looking it up, and yeah, he got out of a court case because he was proposed to in the middle of the case, or he proposed to a girl who accepted. When you propose in front of a judge in Florida, that's it. You're just married now.
What the?
It just happens.
Really?
So so it stopped her from testifying against him or something. Something like that happened. Look it up.
Because
don't
a man,
trust my knowledge.
A man and woman can't
testify against each other in court. Right.
When they're spouses. Yeah.
Sneaky.
Huh.
Yeah. Ted Bundy apparently knew the legal system. Like, he was a cop or went through.
Yeah, he was smart.
Cop college.
He went through cop college.
I don't remember. Whatever.
But he was also a fucking monster.
Right. And it's weird knowing the extent of his misdeeds and then looking at his face, because I've always prided myself on being able to look at somebody's face into their eyes and be like, I can tell this person is blah, 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 blah. But that guy, you wouldn't know. I understand why he had so many people thirsting after his, but
he's amazing, just off the cuff compliment.
Well, he's got likable face, which I guess
he does. Like I said, he's very charismatic, good-looking guy.
He would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for that meddling mountain of evidence.
Yeah, seriously.
So anyway, there's a text message from Ted. It says, chili dogs and chili mac are a big thing here in Ohio. There's a few well-known places like Skyline and Tony Pack's. Most people put the hot dog chili on the noodles that doesn't have any beans.
Then it's just isn't it just spaghetti with like a slightly different sauce? It's still hamburger and
it is
sauce, whatever that.
Yeah, they says it's pretty much a seasoned, greasy ground beef. And it's delicious.
Yeah, I would still eat it. I got to ask Ted something unless there's more text.
It just says, don't knock it till you try it. P.S. Hey guys, it's Ted again. And some hearts.
That's awesome.
Thank you, Ted.
Ohio was where Aoku and their dad were going to go, right?
True. Apparently we got some Ohio gang represent. I don't know.
I can't remember what the convention was called, but if we go to the Ohio one next year, will you be there, Ted?
Will you be there?
Because if so, that's a point toward us going.
Really, all it takes is two people saying go, and then we'll show up.
It's fucking sometimes just one.
Thank you, Ted, for your text message. Appreciate that. And finally, we have a voicemail, which is my new favorite, and not in a sarcastic way.
All right. Should we listen at the same time?
Yes. Let's go ahead and give it a listen.
Right.
And also probably put it in the podcast. We're going to play it now.
Hey, guys. It's me, Aaron. Aaron from Arlington. Hold on. This will be easier. So, hey, how's it going, guys? This is Aaron. How you like to say so in America? See, I actually have been living in Washington State for the last few years, and this is my work voice, guys, so people can understand me a little better. So, yeah, I know how to speak American now. Oh, God. If only I could go back and edit some of this stuff, trim it up a little bit so that I didn't have to come across so cringy, but I know you guys leave some cringe in there. I can imagine your audience who enjoys your stuff is kind of the same. I just wanted to let you guys know, I don't know how many people tell you this, but your podcast is awesome. And every time I see a new episode has come up, I get more excited about it than any other podcast that I'm subscribed to. You guys are freaking awesome. You probably have finished the saga now for, like, DBZ is probably over now for you guys. But my only thing I could ask is if you finish that, do Super. And then when you finish Super, please do the OG Dragon Ball and then finish with GT. That's how I done it, and I think I found the perfect formula of doing it. Hopefully, we can you do something public, and we can all meet up together someday. Yeah. So, bye, Aaron from Arlington. Bye, guys.
That's an amazing voicemail.
Yeah, that is awesome. Your American accent really
Perfect.
does sound like somebody who was born and bred in America who's been punched in the mouth.
I don't mean this as an insult, but it is worse than your natural accent. Like it.
No, I agree. You're natural, and we're biased, obviously, but your natural accent is just
it's very nice to listen to. Yeah.
It's wonderful. And I'm sorry that Americans are, as someone who has worked a shitload of on the phone jobs, customer service jobs and stuff like that, Americans are dickheads to people with accents. They just are. Like my coworkers that come from another country or they have an accent, they have to develop a Midwest American bland ass accent, no matter where they come from. And I am sorry that Americans are just shitheads a lot of the time with that kind of stuff. But you're doing it. You're blending pretty well.
That sucks that you have to have a work voice. But it's cool that you've been living in Washington State. Honestly, truly, that is one of my dream states. I lived in Seattle for a while.
Yeah.
Took a break, a semester off of college and went up there and lived for a while. And it's amazing.
Yep.
It's like perfect. The climate's amazing. The scenery is great. The culture is so good.
I was just about to ask what you liked about it, but you
all of that.
you just explained it.
The only thing was I was 19. All of my friends were 21 plus, so they would hang out at like bars and shit over the weekend. And I just couldn't go. So I couldn't develop and cultivate relationships. And it ended up like kind of sucking in that early age. So I went back and finished my college degree, which is good. But man, oh man, do I miss Washington State.
If you moved to another country, let's say you moved to Ireland, do you think eventually, this is not an Irish accent. I don't know what accent this is at all.
Oh my God, you keep like,
It's like, it's both Scottish and Irish.
And Australian somehow.
And Australian. And I can't figure out what the fuck it's supposed to be.
It makes me feel better about myself, though.
Let's say you moved to one of those places. Do you think eventually you would you would just assimilate?
God, I really don't know. I guess it depends on how the other people looked at me talking like an American. Would you feel like you were mocking somebody if you were in their country of origin and like all of a sudden you started talking with their accent?
No, I've done this when I lived in Texas.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just kind of adjust the package that you're delivering to someone to meet that person. You're changing the wrapping paper on the present of words. So when I go to like you'd go to order food and you're like, yeah, can I just get a number 6, please? And just like make it easier for the person to understand, just to get that information across as fast as possible.
That's good.
And so maybe it'd be like that when you're living in
I think it might be,
Ireland or Australia. You're more immersed in that accent, so it would be probably easier to pick up than whatever the fuck I just did. I just invented one.
It was amazing.
It's called the I don't have a name for this. The embarrassment accent.
But the question is, Aaron
from Ireland,
would you come to Ohio?
Will you come see us in Ohio? It sounds like we're making an Ohio announcement, which is not true.
It's not true. No.
To Rhode Island.
There is so much money put into this Rhode Island trip that is happening the first weekend in November that we can't promote or even commit to Ohio trip yet, but
not yet.
The through line of the joke warranted its inclusion here. We are going to Ohio first.
Rhode Island first?
Shit. The heart wants what the heart wants, John.
Well, see, you heard it here, folks. We're going to Ohio. I didn't know about this at all. Neither does Eric, but I guess that's what we're doing. Also, just for transparency's purposes, we record these episodes about a week before they go out. Today is October 15th, and the episode is coming out on October 21st. So yeah, we record these about a week ahead of time. I know it's probably confusing for people because you never know. I'm saying that because in the voicemail, Aaron said we might be done with DBZ already.
Oh, yes. No. We are just getting started with season 9. I guess we're closer than ever. Like, that's what you could say.
38 more episodes of the show and we're done.
We've still got, 38 more episodes of the show, which translates to around 7-ish episodes of the actual podcast. Yeah.
We'll see if we stick to it.
We might as well cancel it now.
Yeah. This was the last episode. I'm not editing anything. Goodbye.
Well, that was wonderful. Thank you so much for calling in. I forgot what our phone number is, but if you want to call and leave us a voicemail or text message, all you got to do is call us.
At 385-DARE-1-OX. Call now and you'll get a free lifetime subscription to...
All right, we're going to start off with episode 254 of Dragon Ball Z. The Japanese title is Run Away, Satan! An angry Majin Buu emerges. The American title is Evil of Men.
I will never not enjoy
They're fantastic. They suck, but they're fantastic.
And not just the Japanese titles, but the use of the word Satan.
Yeah.
Just so
I don't know.
willy-nilly.
It must have been Akira Toriyama, right? That decided to call this guy Mr. Satan.
Yeah, it was for sure Akira Toriyama, but like, I don't
Why?
think with my American sensibilities, every time it comes up, it's hilarious.
It's
to hear.
very good. Well, especially being raised.
Right.
I think both of us were raised at least semi-religious.
Well, I wasn't raised religious at all, but the places where I lived were heavily religious.
Okay,
to where
that's what I
was told I was
thought.
going to hell all the time.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So it's just extra funny to hear it from
Yeah.
that perspective. Anyway.
My dad used to get on me for that stuff, like using the devil's name at all.
Oh, yeah?
But he wasn't like, cat of nine tails with it, but he was like, oh, you shouldn't use the devil's name.
He was very serious.
He was a little bit more serious about it. I just
He
don't.
was very serious about a cartoon character being named out
Yeah,
loud. He
exactly.
was like Voldemort serious. My episode title is Ultra Wickface.
Oh my God. All right. So this episode starts with the very next second of
Yes, after the puppy is shot.
after the previous shot, which was last season. There are these two guys, Australian guy and Schmitty is what I have written down.
Holy shit. I totally forgot we named him Schmidt.
His name is Smitty. Like it says it. I have it in all caps in my notes.
Really?
That his name is Smitty. The Australian guy actually says it out loud.
We just named him that, but can I just say I noticed the beginnings of each of these episodes, the art is either awful or incredible. And it tells me in the first frame of the episode whether or not we're going to get animation of fighting in this episode. Because this episode, the art is terribly bad right in the beginning. Almost everything is flat colored. Like it's almost shocking the art difference between this episode and the following episode, which is movie quality good.
It's weird because this episode doesn't need to exist. It's kind of, and we'll get there, but it's like a retelling of the last episode with a different ending, and the different ending works better.
I see what you're saying. It really could have just been part of the previous episode without needing to be half of what it is. But
so I don't know. I don't know what happened in the break between the last episode and this one. Or if it really just was like a week to week thing and they were just like, let's do this. But
yeah, it feels fillery. It feels like 80% fillery.
and it's fine. Like the content is fine, but like plot wise, it doesn't. We've kind of already done a lot of this before. So it starts off with the two guys, the two men, the evil men. They're so happy about killing a fucking dog.
So ecstatic about this dog murder.
Which I don't understand because last time we saw them, they were excited about killing Boo, Hercule, people.
They like the idea of murder in general.
But I
think that's
thought
all
they
it is.
liked the idea of murdering people specifically.
That was what they wanted, but it's a new episode. So all the canon that has existed prior to this moment is basically malleable.
All
so now they just like killing everything. It's Dragon Ball Z. It's just fuck it. Whatever. Consistency is.
And then all of a sudden, the Australian guy, he sees Hercule and Boo out there with the dead dog, and he's like, I'm going to get him. And he has a rocket launcher.
This made me laugh out loud because not only does he have a rocket launcher, both of them just have rocket launchers.
I don't know. I thought they just had a rifle, but apparently,
No.
whatever.
If you're going to kill things, make sure it's dead.
Yes. They try to blast Boo and Hercule, savior of the world, hanging out with Boo. What a fucking asshole. So they blow up both of them.
Well, they try to. And
they try to. Cloud of smoke rule.
That's right. Cloud of smoke rule. So the rockets explode. There's the cloud of smoke there. And just before that, Mr. Satan is just remarking how this is a horrible thing. This never had to happen. And there's like real humanity in this episode, even if it's fillery.
These 5 episodes in particular, maybe the best Hercule has been characterized.
Yeah. I have to say that the English writing has never been better than in these 5 episodes.
I
honestly,
agree with that.
It's what carried all 5 of them for me.
Most of the previous episodes, since we've turned on the subtitles, the Japanese subtitles, my eyes would kind of wander down toward the subtitles. This series of 5, I was only listening to the English. It was that good. Like I didn't get distracted. Yes. I was with that plot line the whole way, and I wasn't like, I wonder. There was one time, we'll get to it, but it wasn't because of lack of entertainment at all.
It was because of sexual assault, wasn't it?
Yeah. That's one part. That's for sure one part.
Every time something like that happens, I look at the subtitles like
just to see.
But
no, they did a really good job with the English stuff, and it it was compelling. These 5 episodes were compelling.
And then Boo, before the rocket goes off, is steaming. The top of Boo's head, because there's little holes in Boo's big pink weird head.
All of his body, actually, his arms too have the holes.
Rocket explodes, cloud of smoke rule. They're fine. And of course, the kill guys think that they've ended them because that's just cloud of smoke rule. The person on the outside of the cloud of smoke has to think that they won. I don't know how we haven't established that rule way earlier.
It's part of it. It
really is part of it. So this next part I was not expecting at all. Boo comes out of the cloud of smoke. I was expecting that. The cloud of smoke dissipates and Boo is still standing there and starts slow walking towards them.
And his eyes are open. It's super creepy the way that they focus on him.
Steaming with wick face.
Yeah. Boo, my note is Boo tea kettles and begins to walk toward the men.
And then Mr. Satan reminds us that he is in fact the world champion of the world and destroys these people. He shows up behind them.
It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, and it's because it's so well deserved. Like, you want it to happen, and then to have it come from Hercule is the perfect satisfying moment.
Yeah.
And Hercule not really annihilates. He punches one of Schmitty off a cliff.
Yep.
And then he beats the shit out of what's an Australian man?
I really don't know his name. I've called him Australian man. But there's this amazing close-up of Hercule, and like it flashes in different colors, like red, blue, green.
Oh yeah,
whatever. As he's doing this final, it's very anime. And Hercule does some fucking cool shit.
Yeah,
and takes out the Australian guy,
knocks him off the cliff too.
Yep. Boo and Hercule approach the dead dog and say like, "Oh, this is so sad. This sucks." Hercule lifts up the dog and it's twitching. It's still alive. It's like barely alive, which is disgusting. It grossed me out a little bit.
This is strange content for Dragon Ball Z.
It is. It's just a little bit like grotesque almost. And you just like you just kind of feel punched in the gut a little bit.
Yeah,
but then
it's like accidentally brushing against your grandmother's boob. You're like, ugh.
Similar, yeah. But with the dead dog.
Adjacent feelings.
Yeah.
With the dead dog. Right.
And so Hercule's like, hey, can you heal this pup? Use your healing energy like you did when his leg was broken. So Boo's like, yeah, okay, I'll try. And he heals the dog. And the dog miraculously recovers from the bullet wound. Not dead, just alive, happy as can be.
Hold hands and dance and shout a little bit.
I fucking love this stupid little dance sequence between Hercule and Boo parading over the newly alive puppy saying the words Boo do. That's all they say. And then we discovered that Piccolo and Dende have been spying on them the whole time. They're just watching.
What the fuck is he doing down there?
Piccolo thinks that Hercule is in danger because obviously he's befriended Boo, but Boo is like a fucking nuclear device that could go off at any second. And that's kind of it. They just comment on the situation, and then we cut back to Boo. Boo has rebuilt his house in the image of a dog, and that made me laugh out loud because it was exactly like his old house, but it just has little dog ears now.
Dog ears and a tail. That's cute.
Boo is named the dog B, and Hercule almost cries at that because Boo is showing just like a little bit more humanity.
Yeah, they take a bath together.
Oh my God.
Following this.
There's a weird like montage, and I guess it is kind of like the previous episode where Hercule and Boo just kind of are friends. And Hercule's trying his best not to piss Boo off because obviously he's this hugely evil form that has already wiped out, 4/5 of the Earth's population or whatever the hell. But he does genuinely like Boo and is like kind of amazed at some of the stuff that Boo's doing and comments that like Boo is like a child, but if we can just keep him happy and sort of more in the positive area, then everything's going to be fine.
I know I've complained about Boo's voice in the previous episodes, but I love it here. I think it's perfect because it's characteristic of what Boo is as a character in these moments. After the tub scene, that sounds really strange.
It is weird, but it never crosses the line into super awkward.
Yeah, that's true. Boo kind of tries to drown Hercule.
Like, that is, he thinks, but like I've been there when your big brother tries to, roughhouse with you and ends up almost killing you because you're just a little kid.
Right.
That's sort of what it's like. And Hercule sort of accepts that. It's weird because I think that you could take a different route in this plot where Hercule's scared for his life trying to keep this monster under control. But the show never does that. It plays it like Boo is the kid and Hercule's the parent, and Hercule kind of knows that Boo doesn't know his own strength and all that stuff. And he's just kind of cool with it.
Yeah.
Because as long as he's not mass murdering anybody, and as long as he's being taught the value of human life, pet life, evil, good, and all that stuff, we're in the clear. So it's oddly positive.
Yeah. And it does a really good job of setting up the following scene. But before we get to the following scene, Hercule is alone in his room because Boo has built both Hercule and Bee, the dog, a room now in this house. Hercule's in the room, looks through his bag and sees the picture that he took where he tricked Boo into laying on the ground so it looks like he defeated him, and he wanted to give it to the press. He looks at it and he has this change of heart, this crisis of conscience where he's like, I can't feel right putting this out. If I wanted to take a picture of Boo, we're friends now, I would actually do that. I don't need this. And he tears it up.
That was
throws
really
away
nice.
The picture.
It was a good scene.
And so now Hercule, there's like I think Boo says, I'm hungry again. Hercule says, well, I just fed the guy. And he's surprised at how hungry Boo is. So now Hercule is making Boo some food. And suddenly, murder guy, Australian guy, is back in the window with the gun.
Yeah.
He is like, you betrayer. What does Australian guy say?
He's just pissed that Hercule is in cahoots with Boo. For some reason, even though Australian guy was just like murder and mayhem, hooray, which is kind of Boo's whole deal.
It's true. He's just jealous.
But whatever. He's just like, you call yourself a hero. Now you're going to die. And he aims the gun, which he still has, at Hercule, pulls the trigger. Hercule vanishes like he's going to, Goku up behind him and start fighting. But he doesn't quite make it. And there's this really neat desaturated slow-mo shot where Hercule gets shot in the chest.
Right in the heart.
In the heart. And like flips backwards, lands in a puddle of blood. Boo hears the shot, comes over and is just like heartbroken in the same way that he was when the dog died at the end of the last episode. Steam shooting out of his head and all this stuff. And he's hysterical. And it actually like kind of affected me. Like it hit me because it felt real, which is a really weird sentence to say
in Dragon
when
Ball
you're talking about Dragon Ball Z with a giant pink blob of a character, but like the voice actor and the animation and everything, it was tragic in a way.
Yeah, you really felt it because last time what seemed to calm Boo down was Hercule was there to handle the business, and now Hercule, the only friend that Boo has ever had. Here's the thing: I don't know how long this has been going on for. Several hours, maybe. A day max.
The friendship.
The friendship that has been here, that has existed. I guess we could try and use the counter of how long Gohan has been under the training thing.
It's been like a couple days at absolute most.
Yeah, but it's DBZ. Who cares? Time is implied. So my first instinct was why does Boo care this much? But then I realized it's probably because Boo feels things to an extent beyond what any human being was capable of feeling. Well, their capacity for emotion is massive.
It's also like kids.
Right. Yeah.
When you're in junior high school and you get your first girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever.
And that's all you're about. It's obsessive.
Every single milestone in that relationship is like the end of the world or the beginning of a new one.
The only thing that matters.
It's
no matter
so
what. Yeah.
monumental. And then when you're in your 30s and you're on your 10th relationship, it's so much less. And so he hasn't had that like emotional resistance built up over time. So everything is so new and so powerful. And he's a kid.
Yeah. That first thought that I had was immediately removed by the voice acting and the animation showing the grief that Majin Buu was feeling over this and like the tumultuous anger, but also sadness.
It's really good.
It's so well portrayed.
And Boo in hysterics tries to heal Hercule and does manage to close the bullet hole and wake Hercule up, get him back to life. But it's too late. Whatever effect that we kind of saw an inkling of when the dog had died is now in full swing. Like it's too late to stop. And so Boo yells at Hercule, take the dog and go, take the dog and go. And Hercule's trying to fix the situation before it goes awry, but he can't. So he leaves and Boo spews just a cloud of steam up into the air. And that cloud of steam turns into a gross, gray, lanky, alternate version of Boo.
I've called this one Earthworm Boo.
Oh, that's a weird. I called it Evil Boo, but
evil. Well, that's what the show calls it too. But it looks like an earthworm, but also Majin Buu.
Yeah.
So It's not pink at all.
And it's, again, this is one of my favorite forms of Boo. It's like the second form Cell. It just doesn't get a lot of time at the spotlight.
Yeah.
And so I like it. I don't know why, but I think the character design was kind of neat. And as this new form of Boo shows up, he kills the Australian guy outright who has survived up to this point.
Which is pretty neat.
Yeah, he still shares the anger of this, of Majin Buu in general.
There's a cut to the lookout tower, and Dende says, they've separated evil from good. So you know exactly what's going on.
It's funny, though, in the Japanese subtitles, there's like a narration before this happens.
I noticed that, too.
A huge plot dump of explaining what this is.
Mhm.
And in English, the only thing you get is Majin Buu, the big one, saying, bad Boo,
Mhm.
which is just all, that's all you
That's
need.
all you need.
You don't need the huge plot dump, but then Dende kind of wraps it up at the end of the episode.
Right.
So yeah, there's an alternate version of Majin Buu out there. Australian guy's dead. That's the end of the episode. So next up, we got episode 255. The Japanese title is "Which One Will Win? A Good and Evil Boo Boo Confrontation."
Cool.
The American title is "Boo Against Boo."
My episode title is Wildberry Boo.
That's pretty good. That's not the worst thing I've heard.
That's not the worst thing I've heard.
You did say just like a minute ago that you called him Earthworm Boo.
Well, Wildberry Boo is in reference to a different form of Boo.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So from the first frame of this episode, I knew that we were going to get some action because Boo is drawn in a relief that I don't think Boo has ever been drawn in before, as is Earthworm Boo. Both of them are drawn so impeccably good. And I'm like, oh, I know this art. This is the 16 versus Cell art. Like they brought in that team. Whoever did that, whatever group did that, we're about to get some good shit. So Boo and Evil Boo get in each other's faces. Boo says, "Who are you?" And then the other one goes, "Who are you?" And he's just got like a regular guy voice, which I thought was weird.
That really threw me off because I was almost sure that Evil Boo wouldn't say
say nothing. Right. That's what I was
expecting. But he just has a normal voice that is not modulated or anything at all. And it totally threw me off.
Sounds like a guy. He just sounds like some guy.
It's also weird that they seemed, I mean, obviously, because you're an audience member watching the show, you know that they're going to fight. But in the context of the show, there's no reason for them to hate each other. Nobody's done anything that's against the other's values. And I don't understand why they instantly just start fighting each other, but they do.
Well, it'd be like, and I think this is an example that's used a little bit later. It would be like if Kami and Piccolo split up, like I guess when they did in Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
Did they fight at that point?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. And I think that that's part of the problem is like, there's no example for people that have just watched Dragon Ball Z to draw on. This is very much, at least I think it is, a mirror of the Kami Piccolo separation. That's the shorthand that we're being given. So we just kind of have to take it and run with it.
Yeah.
But seeing it for the first time here, I'm like, should they really just be openly attacking each other? Like Majin Buu, before he split, had no concept of evil. So if the evil that he was capable of doing separates, why does that one have a concept of evil? And why does he want to do nothing but that? And why was he asking who he is as a person if he's evil? You know what I mean? Like, shouldn't he have some kind of confidence or moral compass pointing strictly in the evil direction? Like, shouldn't he know more?
Yeah, wouldn't he just start fighting immediately? The evil one would see the other Boo and like, I have to just kill this guy. Like, let me ever say anything? Like, who are you? Yeah, I don't. This draws into question way more things than Toriyama ever intended on people asking questions.
Well, especially because of how long Earthworm Boo is on screen.
Thank you.
It's way shorter than I remember.
Oh, yeah, like same.
He gets way less screen time than I was expecting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, okay. Speaking of less screen time, the second douchebag, the second murderer, Schmitty, is still
alive somehow. Hercule threw him off a cliff, but he's in the last episode, but he's still alive.
And it just keeps cutting to him occasionally reacting to things. And
so you know that he's probably dead because he's not like a main character.
Right.
And, but you don't know how it's going to happen. And I think this episode was pretty clever in how it dealt with him.
Oh my God. It was excellently done.
Yeah.
I think.
Very unexpected.
John Carpenter, The Thing, kind of good.
Holy shit.
Really? Yeah. So, okay. Boo and Evil Boo fight. And it's pretty well done. It's higher quality than most every other fight that I can remember in the entire previous saga.
All the fights in these 5 episodes are kind of better than the ones that came before them, if only because every character that fights has these like extra qualities about them, these non-human qualities about them. Boo in particular uses a lot of the taffiness of their body, and some of the other fighters just fight in a way that is very much not Goku, Vegeta, Piccolo.
Punching, blast punch, punch, blast punch.
It's all very unique, and it all kind of it keeps you guessing, and it's stuff you haven't seen before. It's very cool.
It's very, it adds a whole lot of unique flavor to the formula that you've come to know and expect.
Yeah.
So Boo and Evil Boo are fighting. I'm just gonna say Boo is the good Boo, and then Earthworm Boo or Evil Boo is the bad Boo. How about that?
Sure.
Boo wraps him up in taffy, and he breaks out of it, and then eats the
and
taffy.
then eats it like a fucking like it's him. It's him.
That's it'd be like peeling off a scab and eating it. Which, don't lie, some of you have done that. I know you have. Don't
it's
you?
Still
pretend
super gross, man.
It is super gross. It is really, really disgusting. So Piccolo has to try and get Trunks and Goten into the fight back on Kami Tower, and the mother's dog pile on Piccolo.
Holy crap.
You're not allowed to. They need to take a nap. They need to take a bath. The blah, blah, blah. They're getting in his face. And it's a scene. I don't know.
That's kind of how I felt. Like, I'm
it's just a scene.
Like, I almost tried to feel something about it. I was like, oh, yeah, the mothers have a really good point here. But Piccolo has this perspective of seeing the battle. And I'm just like, Like I gave up halfway through forming a thought about it almost.
That's literally what just happened to me as I was speaking. The same thing. It's fine.
It doesn't do anything. It's kind of amusing. Like it's there.
Yeah, it's just a moment to break up the fight. That's all it is.
Yes,
they always do this.
That's all it is.
I am personally a huge fan of fights that just continue for a good while to their conclusion or to a logical point where you can insert something like this.
I mean, you get your fucking wish, bud. But not right now.
Not right now. No. And if you're talking about the last episode in this set, that was actually my low point for all these episodes.
That's weird.
We'll talk about it. Yeah. And I can't even, maybe as I'm talking about it, I'll be able to figure out why I felt that way. But like in the moment, I was like, this lost me. It's weird.
Huh.
It is weird. We'll talk about it. Maybe I'll figure it out. But so then back to the fight. It's just so much more attention and detail in this fight than I expected. Almost more attention and detail than the Goku Vegeta fight. I think there's more attention in the artwork specifically than I really anticipated.
Yeah.
They Kamehameha at each other, which I thought was really neat. They have like a beam struggle with the weird bubble of energy in between them. But Evil Boo is just clearly stronger. Every bout, Evil Boo wins and knocks Boo flying somewhere. Good Poo's final... Good Poo? I knew that was going to happen eventually.
I didn't want to call you on it, but yeah.
Good Poo does the thing that Boo does when he's really pissed off and tries to turn Earthworm Boo into chocolate. But Evil Boo just breathes in and then out and blows the beam back at Boo, which turns our good Majin Buu into chocolate.
Which then Evil Boo eats.
Evil Boo eats that chocolate, which my note is this is probably a bad thing.
Wait, that's your note?
That's just my note. After that's my whole note for that
fucking
section.
Course it's a bad thing.
I know.
So bad guy eats good guy.
Yeah. So then bad guy gets covered in pink smoke, which is concerning.
It's like he almost doesn't expect it. Like he is surprised at what happens when he eats the Majin Buu chocolate.
Yeah, it's like he took a big hit of meth and he's just he's freaking out about how good it makes him feel.
So he transforms into, I'm guessing this is Wildberry Boo in your notes.
It is.
So this is Boo as probably you would expect.
As most people probably know him. If not for large pumpkin Boo, this is the Boo that...
Yeah, he's strong, he's shirtless, he's pink, but he's ripped.
He's extraordinarily hot, yeah.
Sure. And the only thing that I have a little trouble with here is, I'll read you my note, and it's not going to make any sense, but then I'll explain it. 2 minus 1 equals 1 and 1.5. 1 plus 1.5 equals 7, apparently.
No, you're right. That one made no sense to me.
You have Majin Buu, the fat one. He gets mad and separates from his evil self. That evil self is somehow stronger than the entity that he came from originally.
Okay, right, yeah.
Which Then Evil Boo destroys Majin Buu and absorbs him. So they become one entity again.
Again, right.
Except somehow this merged entity is even more exponentially powerful than the original combined entity of Majin Buu.
Okay, I follow where this confusion is coming from, and I'm going to give you an explanation that somewhat makes sense in universe, not even like a Toriyama decided explanation. Are you ready?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, I really want to just give a Toriyama decided.
I know you do.
Now,
I could feel it coming.
Okay, all right. So the propensity for violence is evil. Majin Buu was created specifically for that reason. So while Majin Buu was created with the ability to be good, because they were designed with the propensity for destruction and causing mayhem, that part of them is stronger, which is inherently evil, which is why the evil part of Buu is stronger than the good part of Buu. Okay? All right. So following that, evil part of Buu, which is stronger, eats good part of Buu. And I see where this is confusing because they originally were the same thing, whatever, and blah, blah, blah. I point to Piccolo as an example of why this matters. Because when Piccolo absorbed Kami, not only was he stronger, he got a huge super boost as becoming the same person, which they are.
That's a decent point.
Yeah, and Piccolo being the one to absorb Kami in that instance, whatever. So evil Buu absorbing all of what was good Buu and then turning that pure evil makes it stronger because it amplifies the propensity for violence and blah, blah, blah. There. That's my rationalization for everything.
The only counter argument I'll make is that Kami and Piccolo had fucking decades apart where they could power up individually one or the other. And then when they merged again, the result would be different. These guys had literal minutes.
Sure. I don't think Kami probably trained at all.
Well, he's an old codger, but Piccolo definitely did.
No, Piccolo for sure became
So
stronger.
I'm more willing to accept that one. But it's just like, it's fine.
It seems
There's
fast.
a couple things. From a character design standpoint, I really like it because this villain is constantly evolving and constantly changing, and it's visually interesting, and the personalities change with it. And that's also interesting to watch. So I'm totally on board there. The weird part is Majin Buu original that we've been dealing with last season didn't have a concept of good or evil. That was the whole reason why Hercule was able to turn him to convince him not to kill anymore.
Sure.
He wasn't turning him. He wasn't changing him. He was just saying, what you're doing is bad. And Boo's like, oh, what is bad? And he didn't know, right? But now it feels like there's a good and evil inside of an entity that literally the purpose of was to have no concept of either.
Okay.
To make the ending of last season work.
I don't know if them not having the concept matters if they always had the propensity for it. It's kind of like somebody not knowing something, but that thing still exists. It's like Schrodinger's evil, good and evil.
But it's inside them, though. It's like having an encyclopedic knowledge of quantum physics, but not being able to recite it until you get, I don't know.
Until somebody says it exists.
Yeah.
And then you suddenly have it. Yeah, I'm not saying it's not confusing because if you want to try and peel it apart,
part of it is just us having this podcast, me wanting to make it a little bit more confusing.
I'm glad you're admitting that.
Just to spice it up a little bit.
We do that all the time.
But honestly, watching the episode, I was fine with it. It seems to contradict a little bit of what was established in the last season of Majin Buu being this sort of blank slate that had no concept of anything.
If it made perfect sense, it wouldn't be Dragon Ball Z.
That's a good point.
But Super Buu is great. I love Super Buu because of the neck.
That's his official name, right? This one?
Yeah, that's the official name, not Wild Berry Buu.
Well, the whole fucking body. I mean, I agree with you. The neck is the piece de resistance. But he's made of taffy, and he actually acts like he's made of taffy.
He acts like he doesn't give a fuck about posture, about appearances, about anything. Yeah. He is ripped as a side effect of being who he is. He doesn't like hold himself like a big ripped. He is just, he's like the dudes out in front of the used car, like the wind blow up, whatever those are called.
The wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man.
Yeah. Wait, is that what you would Google to find those?
I mean, that's what Family Guy called it, and so the name sort of stuck. He is the incarnation of insanity. That's what I sort of put it in my notes. Like, he is
good.
I really like this original. Later, in an episode or two, he talks. He's still intimidating, but in this appearance, he barely says a word. He twitches. He just stretches. He screams. He powers up. The fucking musical theme that I'm guessing was done by Julius Dobos that we interviewed not too long ago.
I think it's Julius.
I forgot how amazing it was, but it perfectly embodies that sense of like chaos. There's never been a DBZ villain that embodies insanity, unexpectedness. Like you don't know what he's going to do next, but he's literally capable of anything. And like there's no rules with him,
right?
And it just works.
Fun. It's a lot of fun.
It's really fucking fun. And DBZ somehow this late in the game turned out a villain that feels new. That feels like it's not a rehash of what's come before.
And it feels
I really like. And I really, especially because they get into some like almost meta conversations a little bit later.
They totally do.
Episodes. And so it feels really perfect for like the end of an era that, you know, coming up this close to the end of the show.
Yeah. And what got a laugh out of me for this scene is that when Super Boo is kind of figuring himself out, he's like flicking his fingers around. He's just kind of like standing there. He seems bored. And then out of nowhere, he just fucking screams. And Super Boo has the best screams that I've ever heard in the series.
Really, really good. And it freaked me out. I wasn't laughing. I was a little scared because like I don't like that unpredictability.
I fucking love this villain. I don't love it.
It's
more
really
than
good.
Cell, but with the build up to this character, I really enjoy Super Boo.
Like this is what people were. Well, I'm speaking
in generalizations.
This is what people were expecting. I think when Boo was first sort of promised,
right?
And we got that turn of expectations with Majin Buu that we got. This is what, if that would have came out of that egg, that pistachio shell, people would have been like, yep, that makes perfect sense.
This is what the conclusion to that buildup deserved. And it feels perfect, if not delayed. If not a little weirdly delayed with the
I don't know, man. It's a little bumpy to get there, but I do like Majin Buu.
I do too.
The character that Hercule bonded with, I really do like that character.
I didn't initially, and it was mostly a voice thing, and a lot of the presentation in the beginning I didn't like so much. But at this point, I get why it is the way it is. But I don't think it was like designed to be this way. I don't think there was a plan. To make it happen like this. I think it just was
because of how quickly you get from Majin Buu to Super Buu in this season. Yeah. I don't think there was a plan either.
No,
it happened so fucking fast, dude.
Yeah, it really did. And I'm happy we're here. I feel like we have the villain.
Yes.
And we know the stakes. And so that's probably why I'm settling into, okay, I'm happy with how this turned out. Because finally we get the thing that we've been waiting for, that I've been waiting for at least.
Yeah.
The real ass villain. And so the bellow happens and Super Boo sees Schmitty hiding in some rocks.
Mm-hmm.
And the way Super Boo dispatches Schmitty is fantastic. Go ahead and describe it. It's
maybe the grossest thing that's ever happened in Dragon Ball Z. It's disturbing. It's disgusting. It's incredibly well animated.
It's wonderful.
I hope that we never see anything like it again. It's the crowning moment of, this is a kid's show?
It really is, yeah. And I know that you have less of a propensity for enjoying hyper violent things and like awful body horror than I do.
It was, but there were it was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
In all that phrase encompasses, like it was
yes.
It was joyous and disturbing and fucking wrong. But that's what it should be, because this is the villain and it's crazy and it's unexpected. And it really does work for this new type of villain in DBZ that we haven't seen before. This like fucking get ready for some fucking stuff that you can't prepare for.
Get ready for something you can't be ready for.
Yeah, exactly. Get ready for the unexpected. Like it really does work. It's great because it's not repeating anything that's happened before. So Super Boo is crazy. Doesn't say a word, just looks around trying to figure himself out, cracks his neck way too fucking much, and spots Schmitty under a pile of rocks getting to his feet. Schmitty, I honestly can't remember if Schmitty does anything to deserve this.
He shoots Boo with a
Uzi. Yeah, that's right. He shoots him with an Uzi, and the animation of bullet hold Super Boo is great. because his little pink, fleshy, taffy body gets all peppered with bullet holes that look awesome. And he's not affected at all. He doesn't move his legs. I think that's probably the creepiest part. He just stretches. He screams and stretches his body in a huge, it's got to be like a quarter-mile arc over to where Schmitty is and forces all of his self up to the torso into Schmitty.
Into his mouth.
And Schmitty expands in a way that probably awakened some stuff in some budding teenagers watching this. But
I bet it did.
Eventually, the expansion just becomes an explosion of pink smoke material. There's no blood.
There's no blood, but the pink amorphous expanding explosion takes the place of the blood. And it's close enough in a color. It's close enough that you get it. You get what they were going for because the pink is close enough to what blood would be.
God.
Wow. It was, if somebody likes this stuff, if somebody likes the Doom gore, somebody likes the game Succubus, this hit my masochism sweet spot, my sadistic sweet spot. I was like, yeah, but it really does ask the question, this is for kids?
Oh God, is it gross? It's something you got to see. And it's something you got to see in the context of knowing what Dragon Ball Z is. Because it's very out of place for this show, but it really works to tell you who this villain is in such a short amount of time. I got to give credit to the show because it pulls it off. Like you're automatically from now on, you're scared of everything that Boo does. I mean, until he starts talking a lot, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, it's true. You know what? Boo should talk less. I know I've said that before, and
that's what I literally was going to say that when this guy showed up. I have it in my notes. Like, this is the Boo that we all wanted, and what I meant by that was John.
Yeah, because
you said that Majin Buu should talk less, and it would be creepier.
Yeah,
this guy's fucking creepy.
But then he starts talking.
Yeah, and then he's just kind of a normal villain. But anyway, so then Boo reforms from being in this cloud of exploded Schmitty. And he's upside down. He's just upside down. The guy, he does this a lot where he's just upside down or at weird angles or like bending his body in weird ways. And it's just so unnatural that it kind of is unnerving. Yeah.
So cool.
And then he spots Hercule and he really makes use of his jelly, his taffy body, this version of Boo, which I really, really like. He heads towards Hercule. It looks like he's going to kill him and he stops. And he stops above Hercule to the point where Hercule's like, oh, I made it. I dodged the attack or I survived or whatever. Then he looks up and sees Boo. Boo stares at him for a while and then just flies off.
Yes.
Flies away. Hercule lives.
Which means that there's still some part of Boo that recognizes what Hercule did, or the puppy. One of the two represents to the overall being that is Boo at this time.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
It's interesting. So Super Boo flies across the land. I really like the way he flies in the T pose.
Yeah.
Arms stretched out. And he's like so powerful that as he passes mountains, the mountains just collapse. Like there's no impact or energy blast or anything. They just tumble. And I'm like, what's this guy? What's he going to do? I don't understand. He's just going to go on a killing spree. And then there's a shot of the pole that supports Kami Tower getting closer and closer. And I was like, oh, fuck. Like that. Oh, he senses the power of everybody up there. Holy shit. This is crazy. And then he just starts flying up to Kami Tower. Piccolo tries to warn everybody that Majin Buu's coming. Majin Buu, he's here. That's not a Piccolo voice. And then I just don't have it. We've been talking for like 2 hours now. I got nothing left in my vocal cords. And then Majin Buu just appears like on Kami Tower in front of Yamcha, Popo, Piccolo, Krillin, and Dende.
Yeah.
And he doesn't say a goddamn word. He just twitches.
He just twitches and laughs.
He twitches his head and laughs. And that's how the episode ends. And it's perfect.
Yeah.
It's terrifying. It's maybe one of the scariest moments in DBZ. That's it. Like, that's it. He knows where the heroes are. They're the last line of defense against what's going on. And that they're not prepared to fight Boo. And Boo is doing things that are totally unexpected. It's terrifying. I'll be right back.
Oh, it's time for the mid-roll piss shout out.
It is actually, yeah.
All right, I'm gonna do this myself this time.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate it. And I appreciate all of our patrons. during this mid-roll shout-out.
This is the part of the episode where we like to thank our patrons that hit a certain tier on Patreon. Patreon.com/Eric. Nope, it's patreon.com/EHDBZ. Actually, do I not remember what it is now? Spencer always forgets, and then this time he remembered, and then I forgot. Okay, it is patreon.com/EHDBZ. And those wonderful individuals are... Oh my God, we got a lot of you now. Lori, Kyle Endujar, J to the A, Josh West, Eric White, Dan Schumate, Erowin, Andrew Winden, Oh Noe Zoe, Tyler Hyatt, The Fish, Spencer Feuerstein, and MJ Snyder. Thank you all very much for continuing to support this massive disaster that we sculpt into a slightly less massive disaster. We sincerely appreciate it. All right, well, I did the mid-roll, so let's keep blasting on.
Episode 256. The Japanese title is A No Timeout Catastrophe. Earth's humanity is exterminated. I thought it was eliminated. The American title is Empty Planet. That is a much better title.
My episode title is Produce.
So Boo shows up on top of Kami Tower. He's facing Piccolo, Krillin, Popo, Yamcha, and Dende, who are very ill-equipped to deal with this kind of threat. And he does nothing except shout at the top of his lungs, Produce. Except I thought he was saying bro juice.
Bro juice? Like fight milk?
Yeah. I was so confused that I had to rewind and listen to it again. And I still didn't get it until one of the characters said, produce what?
Produce what, dog? Like, you can't just come up here and scream produce in my face. Hang on, it's Piccolo saying that. Produce what, dog? You can't just come up. That's what happens. Super Boost shows up and says, I was promised a good fight. Produce a challenger. Like, he sounds like that. He's like terrifying.
Fucking don't explain. Don't explain. Let the characters figure it out. All you got to do is shout produce, and that's super creepy. But he doesn't. He elaborates, and it kind of ruins it for me.
I do love the voice actor for Super Boo.
I mean, it's not bad, but his best line reads are the screaming.
Yes.
And the produce. Like, the insanity portions are the best. I'm not saying he's bad by any means, but he's just a normal guy when he says sentences. He's creepy beyond all measure when he says a word or just screams. But he's just a guy when he says regular sentences. So anyway, Bulma, Videl, Chi-Chi, and Oxying show up. Chi-Chi's brandishing a broom. It's a form of weapon. We kind of fill in the blanks. Why is Super Boo here? Why is he requesting a fight? Well, remember when Goku was on Earth, he promised Majin Buu that in 2 days' time, there would be a challenger that would show him a very good fight. Mm-hmm. Turns out it's only been 1 day, not 2 days. And so Super Boo's here early anyway, but he's impatient. He cracks his neck continuously while Piccolo tries to convince him to wait, give him more time, let the challenger prep a little bit more. A challenger, of course, is Goten and Trunks, little kids who can fuse into a being that hopefully will provide a challenge and vanquish Majin Buu.
So Piccolo responds with, that guy's taking a nap right now. And Boo screams out, wake them up! And Piccolo tries to barter with Boo, but this Boo doesn't give a shit about time. There's nothing that Piccolo can say to actually
it's kind of amazing because he's still a kid, but he's like a kid on steroids.
He's just an asshole kid. Yeah.
Like, he really doesn't care. So Piccolo's like, fuck, I gotta buy time. I gotta do something. So he says to Boo, give us more time. There's plenty of people down on Earth that you can kill while you're waiting. Go do that. And then when you come back, we'll have the challenger ready for you and you can fight. And in his head, he's going, okay, Dragon Balls. That's our ultimate thing. We can wish them back and everybody will be fine. I'm sorry, this sucks, but it's our only option.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
People can't be wished back twice with the Dragon Balls. That's like a hard, fast rule, right?
I want to say yes.
So how they can't wish back all the people that were killed by Cell in the previous saga, who were also killed by Boo in this saga.
Just fucking hope that they died of natural causes in the interim.
So
man.
there will still be, by this plan, entire cities that are completely abandoned by the rules of Dragon Ball Z.
Unfortunately, yes, but these series of episodes break a lot of rules that I've held dear to this show up to this point. This is the number one flaw of these episodes, and I really did enjoy these episodes. But the number one flaw that I can see is that it uses the Dragon Balls as an excuse way too much. Way, 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 way too much. Every ounce of tension, every ounce of like character moment that comes out of the death of somebody else is covered up within 10 seconds by somebody saying, "Don't worry, we have the Dragon Balls, we can wish them back." Just fuck off with that stuff. Make it feel a little bit more permanent. Make it feel like these moments matter. And there is one moment that does not successfully land, but at least tries in a future episode where Bulma is trying to articulate why they care now instead of just relying on the Dragon Balls later. But it doesn't quite work for me.
It doesn't alleviate the weight that the Dragon Balls are given on how important they are.
I really feel like somebody should have killed Dende. And I feel sorry for the guy, but like...
No, that would have actually made things really, really tense and worrisome.
Yeah, exactly. It heightens the tension and gives them... I mean, Dragon Ball is always going to come up with the loophole in the end that they can do whatever they want. That's fine. But like, don't in the moment give us a reason not to feel. And that's what these episodes do. That's their one major flaw.
Throughout all of the stakes that were given, the scene being set, and like the next thing that we're about to talk about should be maybe the most horrible thing that Dragon Ball Z has ever had. And I keep hearing people say that it's one of those, like...
It's maybe the most effective too. That's the thing, is like it knows what it's doing, and it is really effective at making you feel terror or loss or like a punch in the gut.
Yeah. But all right, let's just get to the thing. So, okay, Piccolo gives Boo the, you know what, there's plenty of people left on Earth that you can kill while you wait. Like, there's tons of things you can do. Look at all the room we have for activities here on Earth. And then Boo starts the pacing. He just starts walking silently around the lookout, on the edge of the lookout, looking down at the people of Earth that are still left, silent. And it's creepy, and the music supports the creepiness so well. Yeah. Piccolo turns to Krillin and goes, all right, he's really distracted. He's like really busy. He's looking at birds or something. I don't know. So go ahead and take the kids into the hyperbolic time chamber now. It's the only chance we have. And Krillin's like, okay. What's he going to say? No.
And he goes. Chi-Chi actually does rush down Boo.
Well, tries. And then
he tries. Comes at him with a broom. Piccolo zaps the broom in half, and that takes all of Chi-Chi's gusto away. Yeah. She just collapses.
Which I don't think...
Of course not, because the next episode she approached him, but we'll get to that.
Well, I don't like that moment in particular, because Chi-Chi probably wouldn't have fucking stopped because the broom broke. Like, things... She has rushed at things before, and she's had shit thrown at her, and people trying to hold her back, and she continues.
It's just... They should have done, and easily could have done, the scene that's going to happen later. Right now.
And DBZ does
and it would have been the same thing. It doesn't matter. It doesn't change.
They do this a lot where they have like a half moment and then fuck it up somehow, or don't stick the landing. And then the following episode,
and they redo it.
Yeah, they either fully redo it or they'll get the actual landing that should have happened and put it in, but it's like too late. It's like a little bit too late. But anyway, so Chi-Chi gives up. Krillin starts to bring the kids to the hyperbolic time chamber. Boo stops circling and gets right in Piccolo's face and just says, "Time to kill." Pretty good fucking read, because he's smiling when he says it. And then the most iconic moment for a lot of people in this arc happens, where Boo raises his hand into the air and unleashes a just ridiculously beautiful cascade of beams.
It's an amazing shot. It really is well animated, and it looks really good.
It's stunning.
Boo's energy being pink, I don't know why, but it changes the lighting situation from like what you normally expect from DBZ, but to something really unique, and it works so well. Right before this, I love this tiny little character moment. Android 18 is with her daughter.
With Marin.
Her daughter starts crying because she's scared, and 18 hugs her. 18 looks at Boo, and I don't know if this is going to pay off at all because I really don't remember. But the look doesn't say anything, just looks at Boo, and you can tell from the look that she just wants to punch him in the face. Like she wants to go down there and just wail on him. Millions of pink energy bolts fly all over the earth. It might be one of the best moments of tying a Dragon Ball Z plot line into like feeling global that has happened since maybe the Cell games. Like it's really effective at making you feel like this is actually happening all over the world. You see civilians in different cities get blasted and killed, and you see Tien and Chaozu who are still on Earth, and they have to dodge all these bolts. That's their cameo for this season. And then you see Hercule and the dog who don't really do anything, and they're being missed. Like they're not being hit by these bolts, which is kind of cool because it makes you think that after all that walking around the edge, Boo kind of studied it. And like he's smarter than he looks, sort of thing.
The most beautiful frames of this entire set of episodes, and one of the most beautiful things that I've ever seen Dragon Ball Z do, are like the 3 seconds of the close-up of Hercule holding the dog as the beams just cascade and miss. Because they draw the light from the beams showing on Hercule in such relief. I desperately hope that you can find that as a section and make it a tweet. It's like, it's fucking astonishingly beautiful.
I was going to say, and I agree with you, this whole sequence is really good. That's a great shot. The one that stood out to me is the ones on Kami Tower, the ones that show Krillin's and Piccolo's face, only because you get that sort of strobe, like sweeping shadow effect where it's like the light and shadow kind of fanning over their faces, which is something that I haven't seen in the show before that I thought was really kind of cool. The whole sequence is really well done. And it's scary. The stakes are high. It even cuts to like Goku and Supreme Kai. They feel this loss. They can't sense Earth anymore. Like it's kind of a big deal. After all that, the blast happens and the Earth population is decimated. Piccolo's like pleading at this point. He's begging Boo to give them more time. He's like, please just give us 1 hour. One of my favorite interactions is Super Boo goes, an hour. How long is that? And then Piccolo fucking God out of nowhere just creates a giant 4-foot tall hourglass, sets it down. It starts ticking away. And he's like, that's an hour. Just wait for the sand to fill to go down to the bottom. And then the challenger will be ready. And then you can fight. Fucking Piccolo. Why not make that 1 hour hourglass 2 hours or 3 hours? Because he doesn't fucking know what an hour is.
Can we take a moment to examine Piccolo's ability to generate matter from nothing?
I don't want to talk about it because I will have a stroke. I just will, because he has this like this earth-shattering almighty power to create objects, clothing, weapons. Who knows what the extent is that seemingly doesn't tax him at all.
Yes.
And he only uses it 3 fucking times in the entire series.
Yes. Why can he do this? Why isn't it Popo? Why isn't it someone else that would be like...
Popo would be really good because he doesn't, you know, he's not shown to do anything else. That would be brilliant.
He's not in the fights. He doesn't have a stake in... He doesn't have to use his... He's not the guy who everybody says is a strategic genius. And Piccolo is the fucking strategic genius and has this unbelievably monumentally powerful ability that is not explored whatsoever. And I just am so... Sometimes this stuff snakes its way into the crevice between the hemispheres of my brain and refuses to leave.
I know.
And this is one of those things that it's just one of those brain seed nugget leeches. I'm like, fuck, I gotta talk about this.
It's tough. It really is tough. And it's not expanded upon. Nobody asks Piccolo about it at any time during the series. So we don't know what the extent of the power is. He just can.
And I'm having the stroke you were saying that you're gonna have. I'm in the middle of it right now. It's infuriating when I can see behind the page at the guy writing, and I can, in utmost clarity, see him say, Piccolo does this because it's fun. Like that's infuriating that I can just see right down the barrel of Toriyama's decision making.
I know, and I do like the shots of Boo looking out the hourglass. But why the fuck doesn't Piccolo just rip the watch off of Bulma's wrist? You know what I mean?
I don't. Yeah,
Like something
It's
at
just
least
such
a little bit more
bizarre-
sensible. It's
I don't
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. Is it because Kami made the lookout and there's a bunch of hourglasses on the lookout and now Kami and Piccolo are the same guy?
No.
Is it because I'm so
No.
fucking fucked
What
on
he
this.
should have done, and I'm mad. Like, is there a clock on Kami Tower?
There is. I'm pretty
Just-
sure
just
there's just
fucking
a big
point
fuck
at
clock
it.
in there.
And
Yeah.
say when the small hand is on the 5. Anyway,
God, and then they wouldn't have to animate the hourglass. It would have saved the man.
I really liked the scene. I thought it was fun, but yes, it does call into question way too much. Way too much.
Fucking goddamn. Yeah, all right. Let's go forward in time a little bit.
Can he create the Dragon Balls?
Then they can. Just make more. All right, I can't. I'm going to throw up. All right, so after everyone is dead, Piccolo is trying to convince Boo to wait for an hour, and Videl kind of pipes up because Videl this whole time has just been relegated to Ox King side character status, which is
I
fucking-
don't. Yeah,
I hate this.
give her a little bit
We
more.
Okay, I gotta calm down from the matter creation thing. All right, so Videl asks, "Wait, you can't wait an hour? Are you scared?" And Boo points at her and is like, I don't remember what he says. She talks too much. She deserves to die.
Pretty
and
much.
Piccolo reaches out and says, No. That's Satan's daughter. We're not asking you. She's asking you. And it's the delivery of Piccolo's line there that adds like so much weight to the
I just want to
relationship
like give
between
so
Videl
much
and
credit to
Dylan.
Christopher Sabat in this series of episodes because Piccolo's fucking
Yes.
on point. There's quite a few lines in this series of episodes that sell the moments better than the writing does, better than the animation does. It's just because of the delivery.
Yeah, the delivery and the words that they chose for the English language.
Yeah,
in
fair
that particular
point.
order.
Fair point. The American
So
dub
good.
is perfect. Piccolo has some like fucking wise lines in a couple
Yes.
moments, but like anyway,
Yes. So in the name of Satan, Boo decides to wait for the hour.
yes.
We cut to Supreme Kai, who's saying that everybody on Earth has died, and which makes Gohan a little upset. Who's still the situation with Gohan, by the way, is Gohan is sitting cross-legged just in front of Elder Kai, who we've had a couple cuts to, but we didn't talk about because it's like, why bother? He's like reading manga or he's watching on TV, like he's watching girls do leg exercises because
not acrobatics. What's it called? It's the really popular
Calisthenics?
80s calisthenics. It might be that. Anyway, 80s exercise videos.
Yeah, he's watching
He's
legs.
just being a little bit pervy. Gohan's like, fuck, really? God, can we just stop? Can we just end this? This is not happening.
But this time, Gohan says, "Look, you said it was going to be 20 hours. I'm done with this. It's been 20 hours, dude." And he stands up and starts powering up.
He powers the fuck up.
It's maybe the coolest looking power up.
Yeah, it's
that
really,
our-
really good. It's like this
that our gang has gotten.
clear white semi-sphere over the planet, but then like these red bolts of lightning that
just
pop
colors,
up. Like really
just
cool.
like
really, really cool lighting.
Yeah, very excellent. And did you notice his eyes turn blue?
Yeah.
As if
his
he was a
hair
Super
doesn't
Saiyan?
change, but his eyes go blue. And I'm wondering if that sticks around when he goes, spoilers, when he goes mystic later on. I honestly don't know. I can't remember.
I don't. Is that what it's called?
It's called-
I don't think they ever call it Mystic Gohan in the show.
In America, as a junior high school student, I knew it as Mystic Gohan, but I don't know if
And,
that's ever
yeah.
actually officially clarified.
We got to look up. I remember looking up the source of the term Mystic Gohan a while ago, a long time ago, back when I was paying way more attention to the show. It's funny. I was way more into the lore of the show before we ever started this podcast. And so like in the beginning, I remember you would have questions and I would have actual answers. And now it's been 2.5 years, 3 years since we started this. And my brain has since dumped all that information.
Yeah.
But we'll look it up before we get into it. But so Gohan agrees. Okay, I guess I'll keep letting you unlock potential. Elder Kai says, sometimes for some people who are particularly powerful, it takes longer than 20 hours or whatever.
That's a good voice.
It's what he sounds like. He sounds like Master Roshi.
kind of, yeah.
The same.
Huh.
Yeah, same old guy voice.
Anyway, that happens. And then the kids, Krillin finally gets them out of bed because they've been napping. He says, hey, we got to go. We got to go to the hyperbolic time chamber so you guys can train.
Yeah.
The episode kind of ends. There's a cool little moment of like, oh, will Gohan achieve his ultimate form? Find out next time.
Mhm.
And there's like flipping the pages of Elder Kai's manga. And then suddenly there's Boo inside the book. And then it does this really cool transition. It's nice and
Yeah.
artsy, very fun way to end the episode. And then we get into episode 257. Japanese title is The special training is a success. You're finished now, Majin Buu. American title is Time Struggle.
My episode title is a quote from Gotenks. It says, "Guess you can tell jokes now that you're not a tub of lard." Gotenks, circa 1999. All right. My first note is this episode is moving fast, and I had to check because I watched these on 1.2 speed. I had to check that it hadn't changed because watching it at 1.0 speed, the episode was moving as fast as normal episodes do when I'm watching it at 1.2. They're like speeding shit along, which was crazy strange. Like, I don't know how else to describe it, but they're like just getting, they're like moving. Okay, we got to get to the time chamber. We got to get, and they keep jumping from character to character. It was very weirdly paced for Dragon Ball Z. I didn't hate it because I think it should be faster, which is why I watch it on the speed I do.
Sure.
But it was just super weird. So the boys are going to the chamber, and Chi-Chi finally Chi-Chi's up and decides to go slap Boo. We see her walking over there, and everybody's like, no, Chi-Chi. She walks over and she slaps Boo in the face. Boo is just standing on his haunches.
He's not. He's crouched. He's squatting.
Or squatting on his haunches? Yeah, how do you describe that?
Well, I don't know. You added the whole haunches thing after I interrupted you, so
oh well.
I don't know what's correct, but he's just squatting on the. He's looking at the
he's in the shitting in a bush stance.
There you go.
Yeah, and he's staring at the. Oh God, he's staring at the hourglass, slowly going when Chi-Chi slaps his face. And there's like a silence afterwards where everybody's like, oh God, Chi-Chi, you dumb bitch. And Boo asks, do you like eggs? And then turns her into an egg and stomps on it. It's so fast.
Yeah, this is another punch me in the stomach moment because I think every moment up to and including a lot of last season where every time you see Chi-Chi, Bulma, Videl, like it's just kind of funny, haha. B plot doesn't matter, kind of just ignore it, let your eyes glaze over until it gets back to the main action sort of stuff. And all of a sudden they kill Chi-Chi. Like it just happens and it's done. And
unceremonious.
So it really worked as a moment for me because I just wasn't expecting that to happen. They have plot armor because they're just part of the B plot, but that holy shit. She's dead.
Yeah.
It hits Goten, who's observing this scene from high on Kami Tower, and he becomes enraged. It reminded me of Gohan in a way.
Mm-hmm. Watching his dad get fucked up or something.
Yeah. But Goten says, she was all I had left, which fuck me for a 8-year-old kid or whatever the hell to lose his brother and dad and mom. Like, wow, that really...
Yeah.
It was a short-lived moment, but it got to me.
Same. And it's only in English. Like, again, the writing for the English one is really so good here. And it has a couple shots after that of the egg on the ground. And like even the yolk is fucking destroyed.
It's nuts, dude.
It's strange how well this show displays brutality and gore without ever showing blood and guts. Is something that should be fucking studied. Like it's seeing the broken, cracked egg, like your brain understands how fucked up the situation is.
The only thing that ruins the moment is that right after Goten says that really impactful line, somebody, it might be Piccolo, just says, no, it's okay. We got the Dragon Balls. We'll just switch her back.
It's Piccolo. We'll bring her back with the Dragon Balls.
Fuck you. Yeah. God damn it.
Still emotionally is effective, but the weight of the whole situation.
It immediately comes off of your shoulders. Like, it's just like, oh, fuck. I don't care if Dragon Balls are part of the universe and that we can wish everybody back. That can be in the background, but let me feel in the moment what the characters are feeling, because that's sort of how humans are. Right? We don't think of the big picture, the long term for the greater good stuff while events are taking place.
We got to process
while they're taking place. It's small, it's personal. It's like it's in this tiny little bubble and it's affecting you. It doesn't give it time for those moments to really resonate before it just bashes you over the head with the big picture plot savior device.
Yeah, it's a little. It didn't bother me as much as it sounds like it bothers you. Because I'm just so used to Dragon Ball Z throwing the Dragon Balls as the net around.
It just works so much better than any previous season. I don't know why.
Yes.
But they were better than they ever have been before, of like showing character death and, the planet-wide destruction and things like that. It worked better here than any other season. And it just sucks that they're just slapping you in the face with this get out of jail free card.
Yeah.
For the stuff that they're doing correctly. Like,
It's ironic to use the word evolution, but that's really what Dragon Ball Z has been continuously, an evolution of being able to show me without telling me. Or when you're telling me, get me to feel the situation through the dialogue. Like it really has evolved to become a better overall television program or entertainment media product. Like just in general, which I didn't think I would be saying that about this saga because I thought it was going to fucking suck. And we still have 20 or 32 episodes after this, whatever, 33. And so maybe I'll take that back. But just in general, solid so far. Real good. The Super Boo screams out, no more waiting, but not before Piccolo and Videl get to have a nice moment where we get to, again, the English writers get to show off their chops, where Piccolo explains that Videl's father was a true hero. He was the only human that went to go fight Boo on his own and ended up befriending Boo. And he's courageous and a true hero. And she's touched by this. And it's so much of a better speech than I'm retelling here.
It's really good and weird because Hercule up until this point has just been a punching bag, I feel like.
Yeah, everybody's made fun of Hercule for being a dope and a faker. And
yeah, even up till like the first episode of these 5, I think Piccolo says something like, I don't like Hercule.
Yeah.
Like just straight up admits his hatred for him. But it paints Hercule in a different light.
All those things that we have seen in Hercule, that Heart of Silver.
Yeah.
Now the gang is confirming those suspicions that we had.
Goten and Trunks end up in the hyperbolic time chamber. Fucking brilliant plan by making Wildberry Boo just kind of sit there for as long as possible. They say that 1 minute outside equals 6 hours inside the hyperbolic time chamber.
So I'm going to talk about in a minute about that.
Yeah, did you calculate that? I did. So Trunks and Goten end up inside the hyperbolic time chamber. Trunks is just kind of looking around being like, whoa, this place is weird. Look at this. Look at that. I hope they restock the fridge, which like fucking, can you imagine trying to keep the fridge fresh inside the hyperbolic time chamber?
Yeah.
You'd be changing it every fucking half hour.
It's true.
Because the food would go rotten on the inside.
I think it's stated that the food just kind of appears there every single day. But what's in there right now is just crushed up rice and a jug of water.
And can you imagine how many fucking hundreds of years it's been since it was last used?
It's true.
Like inside the chamber since the Cell Saga.
It's just magic. It's just
magic.
Convenience magic. That's what it is.
So anyway, they're in there now, and Trunks is just looking around saying we got plenty of time. Goten, who is affected by his mother's death, is instantly training. He barely says a word. He just starts training, and Trunks is like, whoa, wait for me. So they start training together.
Right.
Boo gets tired of waiting outside, and he smashes the hourglass. So I guess it wouldn't have mattered if they had made like a fake hour-long hourglass, because he just would have smashed it.
Yeah. And Piccolo says, it's only been 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And Boo's like, I'm done. I love this version of Boo's dialogue because he has 2 levels of volume, quiet grumbling and extreme screaming. Those are the 2 kinds of vocals that I appreciate in my metal. So I really appreciate it coming out of this villainous character. And Boo starts wrecking the lookout a little bit, fires a beam right between Piccolo's legs, and it goes through the entire lookout. And Piccolo's like, okay, I'll take you to the fighter. Boo gets this wicked grin on his face, and Piccolo starts slow walking towards the lookout. He takes the long way. And I have a story about this. In 6th grade, there was a kid in my class. He got in trouble, and he was sent to the office, and he stood up from his desk and walked the slowest I have ever seen anyone walk. It was malicious compliance in the most hilarious 6th grade way I've ever seen in my life. Where he took the longest amount. It took him probably 3 minutes because he was going so slow. And he probably walked that slow all the way to the office. So the school day might have been out by the time he got there.
That's amazing.
So that's what Piccolo's doing. He is slow walking Boo to the office.
By my calculations, Goten and Trunks have had about a week and a half inside the hyperbolic time chamber.
Dende says if they fight in the chamber and the entrance is destroyed, they'll be trapped in there, maybe forever. I don't remember who asked him about that, or if he's just bringing that up as just like a conversation starter. But
there's all this like speculation on the part of the peanut gallery, those that are not Piccolo and Boo, of why Piccolo just isn't going to get Goten and Trunks and bringing them outside. And I feel like the worst way they could have possibly presented this is the way that they did it in the show, which is have Dende just outright say, if they end up fighting inside the chamber and somebody destroys the door, they could end up stuck there forever. He's spoiling the future. And you know it just by the way that he says it and makes it clear to the audience. I guess it's a kid's show, and so maybe they wouldn't think of that, but God damn, it would have been a much better moment, and one that we are not going to see in this episode of the podcast, by the way. If this were to come to pass, to have it be a surprise, to have it be Piccolo's or Goten's or whatever last chance at saving humanity and actually shock you instead of preparing you for it 3 episodes in advance.
Also, during these scenes, Master Roshi is rubbing Bulma's ass.
Don't want to talk about that.
Rubbing his face. We have to.
I know.
We're not doing our job. And he rubs his face into her titties, and it's just more DBZ sex assault. And at this point, I don't want to say that I'm numb to it because it sticks out to me every time, but I feel like I'm not doing my job reporting it to HR if I don't say something about it.
My note is for that section is just why in all caps. That's all I had.
Because and it's such a bizarre juxtaposition.
It really is. It comes out of nowhere and it just happens.
Between the seriousness of the explanation of Piccolo's plan of perhaps trapping them in there forever, the children and the biggest evil ever, and Piccolo's slow walk with Boo, and it's so menacing, and it just goes to Roshi assaulting Bulma, who is so used to this and thinks that this behavior is so normal that all she does is wave him away. And I'm like, This was the beginning for me of where it started to lose me a little bit, I think.
I feel like it pulls up. This is the downturn for me. It's kind of boring. It's a little bit elongated. The walk to the time chamber for Piccolo and Boo takes a while.
It should be.
The stuff with the peanut, I know it should be, but the stuff with the peanut gallery wasn't really interesting to watch.
Yes.
All that stuff. Okay, cool. He's stalling. We get
I
it.
do want to say also, before we move on, that there's a moment where Piccolo talks to the kids to prepare them.
Oh, fuck you.
And it's what?
And by you, I mean Dragon Ball Z.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, because this is what I wanted to talk about. This is so also what the fuck. So,
this episode is probably the worst one of the bunch.
Yeah. So okay, in the time chamber, the kids are done after a fusion. They defuse and they're worn out.
That's a fucking cool shot, by the way. How there's just this blast of energy, and you can see the silhouette of Gotenks.
Yeah,
and then you hear Gotenks over and out, and then it in a flash of light, one silhouette becomes 2, and they're defused.
Yes.
It's a really cool visual representation of that.
A lot of fun. And they're describing their battle plan. They're like, and then we'll do this and it'll be really rad. And we'll save all our best moves to the end. We'll go out half power. So
that's where the meta starts here, where they're like, we're gonna fight him and we're gonna pretend that he's got the upper hand, and then we're going to pull out all the stops and we're going to get the advantage. This is fucking how every fight in Dragon Ball Z goes, and they're kids and they've seen it all their life, so they're picking up on it. So
they think that's how fighting just is.
Yeah.
It makes perfect sense because they've grown through what the show's bullshit is as much as we have.
Yeah.
But they're just saying it out loud, and it's really good. It's a really good commentary. As good of a commentary as a lot of the Saiyaman stuff was.
Yep.
So then Piccolo talks to them to warn them that Boo is coming. And the scene plays out. He just says, hey, Goten and Trunks, we're coming. You got about a minute before we arrive, which equates to about 6 hours. So wash up, take a nap, whatever you got to do. Empty your bowels, get ready to fight. But that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, can we talk about how much that breaks reality?
Yeah, because it should have come through and they should have been going crazy.
And how does Piccolo have the ability to even talk through other dimensions?
This other right?
What the fuck? Doesn't make any sense. Why did he even have to warn them? From a plot perspective, it's not even oh god damn it, we have to warn the kids obviously for the plot to make sense. No, you don't.
You don't.
Just have them sleep. I know that this is using too much logic, but technically,
logic at all.
As soon as the door starts to open in the hyperbolic time chamber, from Piccolo's perspective, he's going to open it like a normal door. From the kid's perspective, it's going to take fucking 30 minutes.
Well,
so they have plenty of time to prepare because they know somebody's coming in from the other side.
that's the one thing I'll give the show is every time they open the hyperbolic time chamber, there is a long shot of the hand on the handle opening it, which leads me to believe that there's some sort of meta magic bullshit happening where it synchronizes the time when the door is open. Like from that point, when the knob has been completely shifted down. But that would mean that they'd see the shit moving in slow motion down, right?
Yeah.
Or it starts to speed up, or I don't know. I don't
Something.
know.
Some kind of cool time shenanigans instead of just having random telepathy.
Yeah.
For literally no reason. What if they were caught off guard?
Right.
Who cares? Just write it so that they're just after breakfast. Like, who cares?
It's just more if there are rules to your world that you have established, then kind of fucking follow them unless you also explain the exceptions in detail.
Yeah.
Which there isn't. It's just implied exceptions that we have to rationalize.
Which, speaking of which, aren't only 2 people allowed in the hyperbolic time chamber at a time? Isn't that the rule?
That was my understanding of it as well, is that there's like a limit, there's like a character limit.
Yeah.
And now it doesn't matter.
And Boo and Piccolo walk in there and it's just fine? Why?
Yeah.
Why? Nobody mentions it.
I don't. So juxtaposed against this logic breaking nonsense that continues happening, we have the best writing and dialogue delivery that we've ever had. And it's just more DBZ. It's the only way I can describe this is it's more Dragon Ball Z, because I don't know of anything else that does this to us.
Yeah.
It's so fucking unique in how broken it is that it is. All right. Anyway.
So Boo and Piccolo arrive inside the time chamber. Goten and Trunks do a cool Team Rocket intro because they've been preparing for this.
Yeah.
And they have all kinds of lines and stuff. Boo, before they can do this fusion dance to become Gotenks, Boo just runs over and sucker punches Trunks.
Which made me laugh out loud.
It was freaking hilarious because Trunks just tears Boo a new one. Like, you can see Bulma in him in this moment. I guess, and Vegeta a little bit too, but just yelling at him about how, you got to give us time to prepare. We're trying to warm up for you, man. You got to just fucking stand there and don't say anything, and we'll tell you when to fight.
Right.
And then they're able to do the fusion dance, and they're doing the fusion dance as normal children and not Super Saiyan.
Mm-hmm.
Piccolo questions this as they fuse. Gotenks shows up. You get a little bit of the Super Saiyan 3 theme, which is really cool. Boo and Gotenks face off. Gotenks charges Boo and gets beat up a little bit, but
Gotenks goes in to punch Boo and it's totally ineffective.
Yeah.
And then Gotenks jumps off and Boo says, "You said you would tell me when I could start fighting," because he's just sitting there tanking it and not fighting at all. So he thinks this weird little bout is just Gotenks, is part of Gotenks' intro or something, and he's just standing up. But no, it was Gotenks really trying to punch him. That's how it ends. And then we're on the last one.
Episode 258. The Japanese title is I'm Going Like I Mean It. A wide open Super Gotenks. The American title is Super Moves of Gotenks.
My episode title is It Has You, and then it loses you. It should be It Had Me, and then it lost me.
This episode is primarily the fight between Super Boo and Gotenks in the hyperbolic time chamber, with Piccolo standing on the sidelines. There is a lot. And I don't know how well you documented the fight scene, but I had the Japanese subtitles on, and at this point I was so distracted because every time Gotenks does a move, he announces it, which I loved as a satire of the show, because both of him have grown up listening to things like stories about Kamehameha, Spirit Bomb, Gatlic Gun, Solar Flare, etc.
Moves. Just named moves. Growing up, he knows that the fighters have these named moves and it becomes their special move. And so the kid logic is I have to name every single action that I perform. Which, as a move.
Of course, that's how I was when I was a kid.
Sure.
But every single move has a name in English, and it has a different name in the Japanese subtitles. And there are so many, and I was trying to write them all down, and I couldn't do it because there was so fucking many.
I'm glad you started. The only one I wrote down was the beginning one where he starts with the move called Dynamite Kick because that's Turkey's
Nuclear
move.
kick.
But he calls it nuclear kick in English.
He does nuclear kick. He jumps way up in the air and then comes down, hits Boo in the neck. Boo doesn't feel anything. He does a detonate. That's the name of the move. But in the Japanese subtitle is a dynamite kick boomerang or something like that. And I like this one because when he kicks Boo, Boo just explodes.
I thought that
for
was
some
neat.
reason.
Yeah.
That was pretty neat. So Boo obviously doesn't have any ill effects from this.
It was a super anime thing to do where he kicks him and then he lands and Boo
then it
just has
blows up.
the thing in his neck. And then when he says detonated, it blows up later. It was entertaining because it was so like, what is the word for that? Stylistic? When you see something in the show and it's very anime, right? And it's so specifically anime, and we describe it as being that's very anime. But like, is there a better way to describe that phenomenon where you put the sword in the hilt and then, or in the sheath, and then the body comes apart?
I
Or like
guess it's
the big
stylized,
faces.
but it's
There's
kind of
gotta be a better way to describe that. I mean, I'm glad that we've just landed on it's very anime because that's funny to me. But
yeah.
I feel like maybe there's a better way to describe it. And I can't think of that.
I have no idea.
I don't know.
Anyway, some other moves: Spindle Top Punch in English, and then Rolling Thunder Punch in Japanese. Charging Mad Bull Attack, Swinging Disaster Blaster, Singing Tommy Gun Punch, Exploding Snake Attack, Screaming Angry Wombat. The list goes on, man. I only got about half.
Well, first of all, halfway through, suddenly the hyperbolic time chamber just has a blue sky in there and an ice palace.
What was that? I don't know. It happened right after Boo sort of powered up, so I thought it was an effect of him. But then later on, I was like, no, this is just the hyperbolic time chamber,
right?
Being the hyperbolic time chamber, because we've seen it, aflame before when Vegeta was in there.
We've seen it in ice before.
It's just an environmental effect.
I don't know.
It correlated so well to Boo's movements. I thought it was because of that, but I don't think it was.
What doesn't help is at the same time, when it goes back to being just the hyperbolic time chamber, it correlates to Gotenks powering up.
Yeah.
So, like, if it's just what the hyperbolic time chamber does, which again, rules that aren't explicitly explained, just implied shit, then maybe don't do it at those exact moments so your audience thinks it's a result. And if it is a result, then I just whatever.
If it is a result, it's not expounded upon enough.
No.
And if it's just the environment, it's too coincidental that it lines up with those specific moments.
Yeah.
So
yeah, whatever. So anyway, Gotenks has all these ridiculous names for the moves. And there's a point where Gotenks is like, oh, what's next? And he sits down and he pulls a sheet of paper out of his vest.
So good.
Which has this list of moves on it, which is very funny. But also, where does that paper go when Gotenks defuses? Is that there anymore?
That's pretty good.
Like,
I don't know.
Does that mean if you hand a fusion character an object and then they defuse, it just goes into this hammer space of non-existence forever?
It might.
Like,
wait, why'd you say hammer space?
Hammer space. It's a thing in drawing. Like Mickey Mouse will suddenly pull a hammer out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I think that's literally where it comes from.
Named after that? Wow. That's kind of cool.
It's the thing that happens in art when a character pulls something from somewhere where it doesn't belong. Something out of nowhere. It's that nowhere is called hammer space. I learned that from Ego Raptor. Shout out Aaron Hansen, who definitely doesn't know I fucking exist. It doesn't matter. So anyway... It so doesn't matter. Gotenks eventually goes to Piccolo and says, all right, dude, do you think there's any possible way I can win? Because I'm like really trying here and he doesn't seem to give a shit. Piccolo's like, probably. You just have to be serious, you little fuck. I love Gotenks' perception of fighting in this moment because Gotenks grabs Piccolo and takes him to like a little sidebar. And he's like, look, real warriors just make up their own moves and they wait until the very end to come back and get stronger. Like, Gotenks is explaining to Piccolo how Dragon Ball Z fights work.
Yeah.
And then Piccolo is being like, no, we start off at our fullest. We go all in. What are you talking about, bitch?
Because Piccolo's like one of the only characters in the show that behaves rationally.
Right. Yeah. But still, he's trying to argue against
the show,
how
the universe's logic. Yeah.
It's
great.
So funny.
It's so good.
Yeah. And so, okay. Following that, there's a cut to outside with the rest of the game.
Which, what the fuck? Like, you can't, right?
Because I took track of this.
This fight.
Well, it's 51 seconds of the gang outside the chamber talking. So figure that out, however long that is. And if they get out of the
roughly
chamber,
fucking 6 hours.
Yeah, about 5 hours.
This fight has gone on like 2 minutes.
Right. Yeah. So let's see. if the fight continues on for whatever 6 hours, then I won't complain. But we'll see.
But it seems off. Like would you accept an episode where they deleted a DBZ style fight for the purposes of just like from the peanut gallery's perspective, seeing Piccolo and Boo enter the hyperbolic time chamber, and then the end result of that battle literally 2 seconds later? Wouldn't that be fucking
cool?
Awesome?
Yeah, because you would have to guess through their perspective what the fuck happened. Like maybe Boo comes out missing a limb or something and comes out with an eye patch. And I don't know, just some crazy shit. And then the gang has to be like, what the fuck happened? And then, but knowing DBZ, what all they would do is have Piccolo retell a flashback of what happened in there. And which is basically just showing us at that point what happened in there. Yeah. So
kind of a
DBZ
shame.
wouldn't do that right, but it would be interesting. It could be fun.
Anyway.
So, all right. Yeah, Gotenks is fighting again and just using all these wacky, useless moves. And they've gone full cartoon in this one, where all of Gotenks' moves are more Looney Tunes shit. And Boo of course, is reacting to them like Looney Tunes.
It's weird because I think the show is built up to this moment, this Looney Tunes moment, which I agree with you perfectly. Because you have a villain that is clearly Looney Tunes just by the way that he uses that he moves. His stretchy skin, the taffy like stuff, nothing affects him. And then Gotenks, who is just a kid who is acting exactly like a kid would on a playground, inventing all of these moves that defeat your force field and kill all of the people in one hit. Like, it is so zany, but it's justified. If this had happened halfway through the Goku Frieza fight, it wouldn't be acceptable. But these two characters, it makes sense that it's a little bit hyper reality.
Yeah, that's what loses me. I'm pretty sure is you're right. It's all justified in universe and it all makes sense. And it's not like it's not a fun fight, because I totally think it is a fun fight seeing Gotenks, who is now powered up to the point where they can potentially fight against Boo, and Boo, this crazy chaotic being. But when 20 minutes ago I watched somebody have to watch their mother get stepped on to death, and then 25 minutes ago, I watched the entire planet of Earth get murdered in two really well done, heavy emotional scenes. And now I'm watching a character pretend to be a top while the other villain who did all those horrible things is reacting to them like a cartoon character. I have a really hard time swallowing that. And this is where it started to lose me. It's the pendulum swing back to a joke. Like this show is just ridiculous and is treating itself ridiculous. And I didn't appreciate it as much as I could have. Maybe if I watched this episode, like if the last episode was the end of our series, and then I watched this episode dry from the beginning as the new 5 episodes we're watching, I might have appreciated it more. But
because it was up against all that other stuff.
Because it was up against all that other stuff, yeah, it was really hard for me to accept. And like I said, I totally agree. It's all justified and it makes sense in universe and everything, and it's fun. It's definitely fun. But emotionally, I wasn't there anymore after what happened. So that's why it had me and then it lost me. Yeah. And the part that lost me specifically was when Gotenks gets sent flying into the hyperbolic time chamber apparatus that's there with Piccolo, and they end up in the tub. Gotenks is in the tub and the shower is going, and it's raining on Gotenks' head, and Gotenks turns off the shower.
I love that
and
part.
He's like laying in the tub.
He reaches over to the faucet, just turns it off. I don't know why. That got me.
It's
that was
funny.
Hilarious.
It's very funny, but it's, again, emotionally, I was not happy when specifically Gotenks, there's little bubbles in the tub, and Gotenks looks at the camera and says, "That wasn't me."
Oh, that fucking sucked. Yeah.
Piccolo's head pops up and he says, "Get out of the tub." And it was all funny. It was all very funny.
That delivery was very good too. I like that.
Yeah, it's just like that. The thing I already explained had already occurred at this point. That was the nail in the coffin. And following that, Gotenks and Boo headbutt each other, and they both have the dizzy eyes afterwards.
Yep.
And I was like, I'm just waiting for this episode to end at this point, so I could get back on board with the next 5, because that is my least favorite part of Dragon Ball Z at this point in time, is the emotional whiplash that they throw you through.
It definitely has that.
Yeah, but I'm glad you were on board and it was fun for you, because I could see how much fun it was. Like a carousel that I didn't get to enjoy because my mom just died. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like I'm watching the theme park that's happening, but I'm in the parking lot after the funeral. And I'm just like in a tuxedo, straight faced and upset.
I was gonna
Everybody
say,
else's hands out like, woo!
it's gotta be.
And I'm like, I can see that this is a lot of fun, but I don't want to go in there right now.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, it kind of destroys a lot of the seriousness that is built on these last few episodes, but it does it so well that it's like watching a cartoon episode. It's really fun. It just is. It's just fun. It's a fun
It's totally
fight.
a Saturday morning cartoon episode. That's what this one is. And it's just a lot
It
of fun.
doesn't
And
feel
nails what
it
it's
doesn't
trying to
feel
do.
serious at all. And I think we'll get to that in the next few episodes, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. Just a cool little change of pace. It is a different fight than you've ever seen in DBZ before, and I think that alone made me appreciate it. It was not the same old.
That's true. Gotenks gets to use a lot of really cool moves. Uses galactic donuts, which he calls something else in English.
He calls it. I wrote it down.
Cosmic Halo.
Cosmic Halo. Yep, that's what it is. But it is called Galactic Donuts in all the video games in English and everything. So it's Galactic Donuts, and it's a way better title anyway. That's the only
really
one. It's the only one that matches the Japanese versus the English, like where the Japanese became more popular, I think. To end the episode, after the headbutt and everything, Gotenks pulls out his ultra special move, the one that he's been keeping for such an occasion, and he declares that he's going to use Super Ghost Kamikaze attack.
Mhm.
And from his fucking chesticles, he births forth a ghost version of him that can talk. And that's where the episode ends. Piccolo is fucking shocked. He's never seen anything like it before.
Yeah, loses
The
his
name
mind.
of the attack, Super Ghost Kamikaze attack, is the only one that I could tell that shared the name across Japanese and English. All of the other Gotenks attacks are changed in the English dub. I don't know how you can come up with a better one than Super Ghost Kamikaze attack.
Yeah, it's a good name.
Yeah.
It's a good name on its own. Just as the bookend to this, I remember when I was 12 or 13 watching this episode on TV. And I remember it specifically because this was when I decided to stop watching Dragon Ball Z because of this episode.
Wow.
And so maybe I still have those feelings from when I was younger and they're kind of infiltrating me. But now as an adult, I have a better perspective on why I had such a problem with what was happening. And I might have said this before, but I have not seen any episode past this except like random one-off when I decided to watch this when I was 22 and stoned or something. Like I haven't seen anything past this point.
I'm glad to know this is the moment. I was curious. I thought we were already there, but
in total transparency, that might be why I feel the way I do about it. And I don't like being a bummer about this thing that I like, but it was a bummer to me.
that's a shame because I had the opposite effect. I was so excited. All the fusions and the fun attack names and get the hyperbolic time chamber and all the time dilation shit and what are they going to do if they blow up the doors and all that stuff? I was into it.
Yeah, I had this problem with Looney Tunes stuff with Boo at the beginning too. So I don't know. I think it's a me personal feelings type of thing. There's no right or wrong. At least I recognize that the carnival that you're having fun riding the roller coasters on looks like a lot of fun. I'm just standing again outside in my tuxedo, whatever.
Well, John, I for one am excited to get to the uncharted territory within the DBZ canon for you next time on Eric Hates Dragon Ball Z.
You want to do that one with a little more feeling?
Hang on.
I think we can both tell we're a little tired.
I know. It's been
3 hours.
3.5 hours.
Hours of recording. Yeah.
Next time on Eric Hates Dragon Ball Z.
Thank you for listening to Eric Hates Dragon Ball Z. He might hate the show, but he loves that you're listening. If you want to hear more content by us, we're Octopus. It's a podcast network. If you enjoy more content from that, we're doing a thing on Tales of Nowhere right now. It's called the Sexy Six Pack.
Nope.
The sexist.
The interdimensional six pack.
That's it. Where's the sex?
One
come from?
insane story combining the worlds of Star Trek, Warhammer 40K, and Pokemon. 3 different RPG systems across 6 episodes with one cast of characters traveling through everything. And it's crazy.
You don't have to know anything about Tales of Nowhere to hop in at that point.
That
It's
is
just a bunch
correct.
of friends playing a game. It's a lot of fun.
And John's in it.
And Spencer's in it.
Well, yeah, but
And-
I'm always in it.
That's true. And Josh is in it, who is also always in it. And Kelsey's in it, who's also always in it. Eric's in it.
Yeah, Eric's in
Why
it.
didn't I go with that first?
Eric's in it, and he's pretty good.
We all love Eric. He's the reason that we're all here today. And if you'd like to pay homage to Eric, you can send us mail, M-A-I-L, at ehdbz.com. You can also send us a text message or a voicemail to 385-DARE1-OX. Check us out on all the other shit. Help me. What's the other social shit? Help me.
You can join our
Twitter.
Discord page, discord.io/EricHatesDBZ. Our Twitter handle is @EricHatesDBZ. Our YouTube page, oh my God, we're
Oh, yeah, we have one of those now.
yeah, I'm slowly but surely uploading the episodes from our podcast onto YouTube. There's one video episode up there, the Saga Review number 8, that is pretty cool, and that's a fun way to revisit the podcast. It's tinyurl.com/ what did you do?
What did you do,
No,
John?
what did you name it?
What did you do? I think it's Eric Hates DBZ. No, it's just Eric Hates.
Oh, okay.
tinyurl.com/Eric Hates. That's it. No DBZ on that one. We have literally no unity between every single one of our URLs.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? If people named Eric would stop hating DBZ so much, we wouldn't have to stop changing what we do at the end of this. So
Damn straight.
we're working on that.
Yeah, we're working on that. Anyway,
At the end of every episode, we also like to go ahead and give a thick shout out to every single one of our patrons. That is going to be patreon.com/EHDBZ. And we're going to go ahead and yell out every single one of those individuals at the end of our episode. And we're going to do that right.
those wonderful patrons are Erwin,
CJ Collins,
Kyle Andujar,
Eric White.
Vasco Sapinto. Eric did it better than I did.
No, that was it. Pinto? One of those two. Eric first ran out of gas.
Eric, Felix Rodriguez,
Lori,
Josh West,
Andrew Winden,
J to the A,
the goatee, otherwise known as the fish.
Croy Keener,
Oh no, Zoe.
Ganit Bawa.
Dan.
That's good. Tinny, tiny.
I hope it's not tiny. We've said tinny every single time.
Okay, tinny.
Tyler Hyatt.
Cole Dewick.
Dwick. I know, that's the best one.
That's pretty good.
Spencer Feuerstein.
Tom Prochnicki. Prochnicki. I like that.
I think. I should not be trying to correct you on something I don't know how to fucking pronounce.
It's just an alternate version, so it could be closer or further. So one of us is right and one of us is wrong, but you feel better knowing that we tried.
The mirror universe version. MJ Snyder.
And Amanda Giles? Gillies? It's 2 L's, so it confuses me. But thank you for your contribution.
Thank you so much for helping us support this podcast. We sincerely appreciate every single one of you, down to everyone. All of that's why we say all your names.
Down to
This is so
everyone.
great.
That is correct.
Down to everyone.
Okay. All right, dude. Well, I need to stop, and I'm getting hungry, so I think I'm going to go grab some galactic donuts.
Is that a pun? That's just a reference. We do that a lot, but it's just a reference.
Fucking, what do you got?
That. Did you hear it? That was it. That's what I have. All right, I got one. I'm afraid, Spencer, that we're not going to have a very good pun because all of the characters that were new were kind of schmitty.
I thought you were going to say we're kind of boo. Because that's true.
Because it is also true. I guess Schmitty was introduced the previous
Season.
saga.
Yeah.
Okay, bye.
Bye.